to the amount of disgusting incel white men trying to pick up Japanese women.
Know that their whiteness, their passport, and all of that has a certain cachet that attracts like certain girls. So you obviously have like the sex pats, a loser back home, and all of those guys.
YouTube, it's your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, coming at you again with another YouTube video. And the title of this video is called Passport Privilege. Passport Bros is the only reason you guys are weekend winners, but you're losers back home, says a few haters. And the way this video came about was I was watching Brazil Yesha's channel, and he displayed the full video of the that I clipped that started at the beginning of this video, and and pretty much as I listened to the video, there was a lot of negative talking points which I want to debunk in this video, and I kind of want to speak to. After watching it, I just really wanted to kind of address some of the things that these naysayers are saying and kind of pretty much debunk some of their talking points. And also I didn't want to display the whole video just for like copyright reasons. I didn't want anyone to feel like I'm stealing their material and all this kind of things like that. But I just thought it was an interesting video to kind of respond to. But anyway, I'm going to leave a link to the video in the description box so you can check it out on Brazil Yesha's channel. Please subscribe to his channel. Hit the thumbs up bell on his video. He has really, really great content. I'm a really big fan of his channel. So I encourage you to, check him out as well. And so anyway, since you didn't see the whole clip, I'm gonna just kind of summarize what it was about. And also to let you know that it was mostly directed at, the white men who kind of travel. However, when we talk about Passport Bros, we're talking about men, mostly Western men, white, black, Hispanic, East Indian. I know a lot of times it's kind of associated more with like black men, but however, I do have, when I think about Passport Bros, I do include even the white men, East Indian men, Hispanic men, Asian men who are traveling as well. They're kind of on the same tip. They're tired of the dating culture in America, and they're just looking for something a lot better. And although some of you men may want to separate yourself, I think it's a bad idea to do that, just for the fact that if they're going to criticize them, I assure you, when they see you over there in those countries, they're going to feel the same way about you. So rather than divide, I would rather come together and say that we're on the same tip, we're on the same type of agenda. Shout out to all my, white subscribers, Hispanic subscribers, East Indian subscribers, people of all cultures, including the black men as well. I welcome you all to this channel. And I think that it's very important that when we see, pretty much in my opinion, any man, especially Western man traveling and having issues. For example, there was a Swedish governor that's attacking a lot of men there. Although I'm not from Sweden, that very easily could start happening in the USA where I'm from. So whenever I see anything about any type of man of any color, any background, traveling, being attacked, being shamed, that kind of thing, I think it needs to be immediately attacked and immediately addressed. So let me just state that, and then let me sum up what the video is about. And as I said before, just know that if they coming for them, they're coming for you as well. So it's not a separate type thing. So when I see attack on them, I take that as attack on me. So let me say this. The video mainly started off with a white woman. She, and her race is not important, but the point is, she was there in Japan visiting. She saw a lot of, Passport Bro white men who were at a club. They were, I guess, approaching a lot of the Japanese women there. Some of the Japanese women were flirting with them, throwing themselves at them, that kind of thing. And then she goes on a video to say that she thinks it's disgusting that these incel white men, these incel men, are over there flashing their passport at the women, and she thinks it's disgusting. The only reason she thinks it's disgusting is she's one of these modern women that doesn't want any type of competition. So she saw that the women there were being competitive. They're actually competing for the man's attention. They're being feminine. They're not giving the men a hard time. They're not bashing them. They're not looking down on them. And it made her feel some type of way when she saw that. When she saw her privilege was gone. She saw that, she doesn't have the American government backing her, whoever, because she might come from the UK. It doesn't really, we don't know from the clip. but I can assure you she's from some type of Western country. Just from her attitude, you can kind of tell. So anyway, when she saw that, they made her take accountability, because now she's like, the men are not approaching me. Why aren't they? Because this is when I have a video talking about passport sisters. So she's like, oh, they're not approaching me. They're just approaching these women. They're avoiding me. And so I think it's disgusting. So really, it's just a matter of the fact that she wasn't getting any attention, but all the men were flocking to these foreign women. And she asked, and at that point, when she sees this, it's one thing to hear about men saying they're going to travel and they're no longer dealing with American women, but it's another thing for an American woman to actually see Western men avoiding them in other countries and dating the foreign women there and giving them such treatment, and then also seeing how these men are treating these women. They probably were like, for the most part, maybe buying them drinks, having a good time with them. And she's like, why couldn't the men do this with me? And the thing is, a lot of them have kind of like priced themselves out of the market in America. These such high standards, ridiculous standards. So that was the first part of you. That's only, and that's disgusting, but it gets even more disgusting. The thing that's so strange about this whole situation, a lot of times the people who are bashing the men for traveling, it's a lot of men. It's a lot of men. And it's so strange, because you would say we're on the same team. We're having the same issues. So right after that clip, this other guy, this other Asian guy, and his race is not important. Only reason I kind of wanted to throw that in there is because he was addressing something that happened in Japan. So I'm not sure if he's from a Japanese background. I'm not really sure. But the thing that's so weird about this is whether he's in the West or not, I don't know what it is with these guys who think that by them calling out guys traveling, that somehow they're going to get some poon out of this. Like some girls are suddenly going to be subscribing to their channels, listening to their talking points, and they're going to get some points out of this. These women could care less about that. There are plenty of guys, like, I guess he's trying to be like another Derek, I think his name is Derek Jackson or whatever. Like, the guy that panders to women and just tell them what they want to hear. But anyway, let me go into sum up what he was talking about. So after I guess he reviewed the video, and then he wanted to do his little, TikTok review or whatever. So then he goes on and says, yeah, those are just men over there using their passport privilege. It's a thing over there with the girls. They like guys because they're lighter skinned, they're white, and then they got privilege. That's the only reason the girls are dealing with them. And then they, but really, these are just sex pets. And then, but back home, they're losers, but here they feel like they're winners, but they're actually losing. They need to go back there and, try to do better. And then he brought up the PUA community. What these guys don't know is that back in the USA, the pickup artists there, they do well with women. And then when they travel, because they have PUA, they're going to do even better, and even better than you guys. So you need to be scared. That's to sum up his whole little talking point. So that's why I really want to address this. And now that he brought that up, keep in mind, I have a video that says, Pookie, Chad, and Tyrone and Ray Ray now know about foreign women. Are we doomed? And I really go in on this topic about, because, him and some of these other men might think, oh, but what happens when the men who are doing well in the West, they suddenly go to, these foreign countries? They're going to take the women from you there. No. I'm going to touch a little bit on this, but I don't want to, because I already kind of discussed this in the video, but I'm going to just touch a little bit on this, and then I'm going to debunk some more of his points. Okay, first off, keep in mind, and as I keep saying, one of the things is USA is one of the hardest dating markets. You may say, why? Did you know that 60% of the women are obese, either obese or overweight? And as one of the YouTubers have said, overweight in the United States is not like overweight as it is in Brazil. When a woman is slightly overweight in Brazil, it looks really good. She's thick. She has a butt. She has, she is really slim. They have a workout culture there. Versus in the United States, the women who are overweight, these are women who are generally working these jobs where they're just sitting in a little office all day, not walking around, taking the elevator, that kind of thing. It looks completely different. As a result, there's only a small pool of women that most men want to date. Because most men, even some of the black ones, will not date obese women or women that are heavily overweight. They won't deal with them. As a result, the pool is very small. And keep in mind that this pool of women, all of them not attractive. So yes, some of them are slim and skinny, might be in shape, but their face is not that great. And some guys, again, and here's the thing, in defense of men, most men, a lot of men, especially American men, will date down. They will date a woman who's of lower attractiveness, especially even in her face, because we tend to be reasonable. But did you know when they did a survey, I think it was on Tinder, they said that most of the women only said about, I think they said only about, and I'm stretching this, I want to say at most 20% of the men they found were attractive. Only about 20%. And most of the women, I believe a percentage of them said they only go on there just to get likes for the most part. They're only on there to get likes and get emails, but they never really meet up with the men. They're just there to get attention. So I'm telling you, in this type of environment, even women who are like 3s and 4s, you will be surprised at the amount of arrogance and contempt they have for men. Even men who are highly handsome, highly have money. You have women on Kevin Samuel's show with about 2 or 3 kids by 2 different dudes, and they're saying that a guy who makes $150K is not enough. Think about that. Think about that. And then I showed you a video on BGS's Itmore channel where there's a guy literally living in a basement of an apartment, a basement of a house in somebody else's house. He has a Guatemalan wife. She's cute. She gave him children. She's cooking for him every day, completely submissive. That would never happen in the United States. And I say that to say now that I'm on that page, and let me say this. Keep in mind that the Pookie and Ray chat thing, they call them the F-boy type thing. Keep in mind that a lot of times that could only exist in the United States. You say why? Because think about all the programs we have here. If a woman is pregnant, she doesn't pay her rent. There's programs keep her from being evicted. We have things like food kitchens where if you can't find anything to eat, you can just directly go to a little food kitchen, get your family something to eat. We have public housing. We got food stamps. We got programs to help you go to school, Now you see we're kind of relieving like the student debt. We have all types of money circling around as far as public services. A lot of these services do not exist or are very, very minimum in these other countries. And most other countries, especially Colombia, Brazil, they make you fend for yourself for the most part. And then even, I think a subscriber showed me that as far as even like child support, it's nowhere on the level as it is in these other countries. And in fact, in some countries I've heard, I don't want to say the country name because I don't want to be misquoting the country. There are some countries, and believe Myron from Fresh and Fit said this, in some countries, when you divorce, they give the children to the person who makes the most money. They don't just directly give it to the woman. Versus here in the United States, they'll give it to the woman. She's going to take your house. You got to be paying all these payments. In some countries, they don't do that. They give it to the man because he makes more money. And then the woman has to come there and, for most part, to see her kids, that kind of thing. That keeps them from taking money from the man and giving it to the woman. So I say that to say that in the United States, we have all these programs. For many cases, it replaces the man in the house and the husband in the house. So a lot of women feel like, I don't need a man. If they don't need a man, what's left for you to provide? Nothing but entertainment and sex, which is why Pookie, who plays video games all day, of course, he's going to be a better entertainer because most of us have to go to work. Most of us travel bros, most of us, in order to travel, it's going to cost money. Most of us are working. We don't have time to be sitting around playing games and being entertainment for these women, so what I'm saying is the environment in these other countries does not encourage women to date Pookie and Rays or F-boys. It encourages more women to date guys who are stable, have a strong work ethic, and have some sense of character, because in these other countries, they're very strict with their criminals. You're not going to just be like some of these guys with the backwards, I hate the stereotype with the backwards hat, and he got on like the little button-up shirt, and he out acting a fool for the woman and bullying guy. They don't play that in these other countries. They do not play that in these other countries. So what I'm saying is these other environments don't really endorse or give incentive for those type of men to do well. So that's why when he's saying these kind of guys, these, bum type of dudes, in America or West, if they come to these other countries, they're going to be successful. That's not necessarily true. And also, you're assuming that what women find attractive in other countries is, what women in other countries find attractive is the same as it is in the United States. That's completely different. I just told you the dynamics in these other countries. It's not the same. So watch my video on Pookie, Chad, and Tyrone find out about foreign women. I go real in depth about this. Please watch that video if you want more information about that. So now that I addressed that point, again, PUA. There have even been some PUA coaches that have said that, in particular, I'm not going to mention any names, but there was a few that I watched some of their videos. They actually have went to these other countries. They admitted that it's easier to pick up women in foreign countries. The reason for that, as he said before, and then in fact, I believe Andrew Tate has said this. He pretty much said that, actually his brother Christian Tate has said that in other countries, he said there's like when you look at, to put it this way, to sum it up, pretty much what he said is the poorer countries tend to have more feminine and submissive women in general versus the West where the countries are richer. And most men kind of, especially guys that travel, kind of acknowledge this. It's just the way it is. And I already talked about how BGS's Itmore video has stated, and I agree with him, that the man who lived in Guatemala with his wife in the basement, that guy gets more submission, more respect from his woman than some of the guys in the United States who make over $200,000. You had Jeff Bezos get embarrassed by his girlfriend. It was a video. You can actually look this up. His woman is flirting with Leonardo DiCaprio right in front of him. And this guy is one of the richest men in the world. So a lot of times the rich guys in the United States, a lot of them, you get the women, but you're not getting the cooperation. Just think about how many of these ball players are getting used and got all these women who are just like using them for a child and then they just run off. So yeah, you get the woman, but you don't have any cooperation. Versus that guy in Guatemala, this guy doesn't barely make anything. And also to address this point about you guys are losers back home, but you're weekend winners. That kind of stupid talking point. Keep this in mind. This is one question they never ask. He never asks. Okay, so yeah, so those white men went to that country. The women are throwing themselves at them. And let's just say, even the black dudes, East Indian dudes, we go to these countries, we have women throwing us because he wants to talk about passport privilege. Let me ask you this. In those countries where we're doing this at, the men there who, because keep in mind that the men in those countries, even though they make low salaries, there's marriages happen every year. They're still getting women. If those men went to the United States, they went to the UK, they went to Canada, would they be winners or losers? Based on his assessment of what a winner or loser is. Do you think that those men will be winning in the States? The answer is no. No. A guy living in the basement, suddenly coming to the United States, he's not going to be making that much, probably doesn't have a high skill set. That guy is not going to do well in the United States. Doesn't speak the English is probably going to be his second language. He's not going to do well. But here's the thing. Though, if you think about all the immigrants that come over the borders, even the ones coming from Ukraine that are going over into Western Europe for protection, a lot of those men come over there with their wives. Do you ever hear about this huge exodus of wives leaving their husbands because they suddenly came to the West? No, it's unheard of. It is unheard of. In fact, immigrants, their marriages tend to be more stable than American marriages. And these people have just came over the border where there's literally opportunity everywhere. These women, if they were so oppressed and so felt like men who make this amount are such losers and them having such poor opportunity makes them such losers, they would just flee. They don't do that. That's because it's part of their culture. It's embedded in them to take care of their men. That's what they do. In fact, there was a video about a Filipino woman who was talking about she doesn't think cooking is slavery like some of the Western women do because that's what they do. They grew up in an environment where their mothers, their sisters, their aunts are cooking for the men. This is something they do. It's not slavery. It's embedded in their culture. So of course, so when those women come to the West, and a lot of the naysayer women and men, oh look, they came to the West now. They're going to leave you. They're going to act different. No, they're not. According to the stats, 80% success rate. No, they're not. They're going to come and do just what they were doing in that other country. Statistically, it has been proven. As I told you before, Immigrant families are more stable, and American men who marry foreign women, their success rate in marriage is 80%. 80%. The women, they don't come over here. I understand, like, again, here's and a few that 20%, because I say 80% success. What about the 20% that's not successful? Again, it's going to come down, in my opinion, to you need to vet these women. Do not just bring any type of woman. You need to really vet her. Don't just meet a woman for 5 days, propose her, and bring her back. No, don't do that. I would say at least vet her for 3 to 6 months. Get to really know her and her family, and really, you know, I'm going to make a video on vetting as well, but I just wanted to really address this point. I hope I really debunked a lot of this, because this is just trash. And again, this same guy that's saying this, I even wonder if he's successful with women in whatever country he's from. I doubt it. You know, he thinks this is going to get him some type of poon or some kind of notoriety, but he's really just betraying himself. He just looks like a complete buffoon. So I'm going to end on that. And again, please, guys, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell. Hit the thumbs up button. Please leave comments. I want to hear what you think about this whole thing. And until next time, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, signing off.